It's so exciting for me because it feels like a culmination of this journey I've been on of just discovering really the world of women and what it is to be a woman. Around 3 years ago, I came across a women's circle, and then I just started sharing my own women's circles. It's just a natural. It just felt like I wanted to connect with women and go deeper in conversation, and just even learn what it was about, learn what ceremony and ritual was about. And that kind of just kept going. It brought me on this whole momentum of just wanting to research and learn about all these cultures that celebrate women around the world. And I got introduced to a Native American women's shamanic ceremony, and it was so powerful. You couldn't deny this incredible mystery and just profound space that was being held. And then I was just fascinated and just so interested in exploring the world and in these traditions that women have gathered, learning about more about the bleeding cycle, learning that women sync up with the moon when they live in the wild, they sync up with one another, that there's these red tents and moon lodges, and all of this was a huge process of discovery for me, who as a young woman was kind of in denial of my cycle and not really always loving the image that is put onto women, or the what you feel you need to become as a woman in society, or just even as a person in society. And just learning about these ancient cultures, traditions, was just hugely inspirational. And it really started to make me ask, where did I come from? What are my ancestral roots? I think I grew up with this notion that we as white Europeans have gone and kind of destroyed the world and kind of taken away a lot of the beauty of other cultures. And then I learned, going deeper into my own heritage and what went on in Europe, discovered that a lot went on against women there, and a lot went on to our ancestral ways, which was just that connection to the nature, connection to our cycles, connection to mystery, spirit, unknown, the universe, whatever you want to call it, or God, or the goddess, but in your own home, in your own practice, in your own world, and then how that got shifted to institution and to the church and to the Christian faith, which has its roots in beauty, but in some way got taken away, I think, from many of the beautiful aspects that celebrated women, simply, just to focus on the women's story. It really has kind of pushed out the power of women, the beauty of women, and I remember feeling kind of angry as a young girl at how in Christian faith I heard about the virgin or the whore, and I would look around at the women like, who is the virgin and who is the whore? I just wasn't meeting her, and I was just seeing all these incredible women all the time, just meeting all these just incredible personalities, and it's just such a wide spectrum of what a woman was. It just felt very limiting in that sense. And even if I didn't grow up religious, and even if people weren't really religious, it was the undercurrent of the society I grew up in. It was kind of referenced all the time by my friends and the people who I grew up with, of just the shaming of women and the confusion around sexuality. And becoming a teenager, it's such a confusing world, and then you're in denial of all this beautiful stuff that is connected to us as women. So this was a huge journey for me, just empowering myself, learning about this, and then just couldn't stop learning all about these different traditions around the world. So just deepened my own research, and then just simply wanting to share more and more. And I was in the circles, and then it kind of snowballed into workshops and showing up for events, and it just became such a strong feeling very quickly. I want to meet physically in different places around the world. I want to learn from the women in that location. I want to keep going with this research. I feel ready to draw in my experience working in documentary and research and all these sort of past lives within this one life I've had, weaving in these threads. And what if I could create a festival that's not too big, that it's a container, working with women coming together and celebrating and just, you know, dancing and playing and enjoying a culture. And then also that idea of a retreat, which is so beautiful, where you can go through these transformations and healing and just understanding who you are, and finding perhaps that perspective again to go back into life. And then to also bring in the thread of education and inviting the education leaders that I want to learn from, the professors, the women who've become experts in their sort of field of interest, and also again the local women, just the women's stories, because we have so much to learn culturally just from the mythologies that are passed on, the stories shared between women, these ways that women are still meeting and connecting, which hasn't been lost completely. It's, you know, woven in. Yeah.